Our daymate's name is Johanna. She has earrings with garnets and is going to take her social security to Bavaria on her birthday. One time she saw this man in this hairnet and he bawled her out for taking his razor blades. I have to help her put on those pillowcases or she'll never be through by 4. For Lord's sake, she has to be through by 4. Then I go around to that service elevator on the 6th floor to see what everybody's thrown away and if I wanted or not, like ribbon or something like that. Then I have to go down to help the switchboard operators in case there's any DAs and there has to be some sort of message taken or something like that. If there is an exit sign, I always have to go into it because there might be a mattress in there and I can lie down on it and get some rest so I can carry on, for Lord's sake. Oh my Lord, I am absolutely so busy. I don't know how I could possibly get everything done. Then I have to hop around for a while. So she's saying that she's so busy, but of course she's filling up her own day with lots of silly activities. I have lunch at the Palm Court if it is too rainy and see Thomas. We are both rather fond of talking and he gives me Jugelhopfen. Thomas has a son in the Marines who got married on a shoestring. Thomas has a Corvette. I always go in the Persian room after 4 to see my friend Bill. He's a busboy in the night and goes to school in the day and his eyes water. Here's where he's been. Madrid. Here's where I've been. Boiler room. Then I scamper to the terrace room where those debutantes are prancing around. Then I have to skibble into the Baroque room because sometimes there's this chalk and there's this pitcher with ice water in it and you should see this cigar smoke left over from a General Motors meeting. Oh my Lord. Then I have to help the busboys and the waiters get set up in the crystal room. They always wait until the last second, for Lord's sake, and then we have to rush our feet off. I go to all the weddings in the white and gold room. I usually stay for the reception. There are absolutely nothing but rooms in the plaza. Ooh, I absolutely love the plaza. Sometimes, if they are having this enormous affair in the grand ballroom, I get there early to help Joe set up the lights in the ceiling. And before anybody gets there, we just scamper up this ladder and hide up there in those holes. Oh my Lord, is it ever swelteringly hot up there. I always wear my sun visor. But there she is. And I have a connection to this book. I used to live in New York City and I took my daughter, because we love this book, I took my daughter to the plaza and we actually saw this room. I am all over the hotel. Half of the time I am lost, but mostly I am on the first floor because that's where catering is. So I have to go down there every day for at least 3 hours, and sometimes I have to go at night. Oh my Lord, do they ever have a lot of things going on down there. Altogether, I have been to 56 affairs, including Halloween. There's this oak room, which is to the right if you want to have a broken mint or something like that. And you have to go downstairs to the rendezvous room, which is very good for hiding over a long period of time or for doing a tourette or so. The package room has all these packages in it, and sometimes I have to help them. They have to lift those heavy boxes and look for small packages that might be for me, Eloise. Sometimes I go into the men's room, which is very good for playing railroad station or something like that. Every Wednesday I have to go to the barber shop and to have Vincent shape my hair. He does absolutely nothing but talk and squiggles me around in the chair and hurts my neck with that whisk broom. Sometimes I sklonk him in the kneecap. So she's saying she hits him in the knee. Vincent says that if I am not careful, I am not going to have hair on my head by the time I am 7, for Lord's sake. So far, we talked about noticing the parts of the character that we admire. And certainly I admire her creativity, and I admire how happy she is all the time, and how I think she probably brings joy to a lot of the people around her. But the things I think I could learn from are she's a little bit mischievous, and I'm not sure that people really like that. If you it's fun every once in a while to sort of play a trick on somebody, but certainly I don't think anybody wants to get sklonked in the kneecap, as she said. Getting bored is not allowed. Sometimes I comb my hair with a fork. Sometimes I wear my arm in a sling. Sometimes I put a rubber band on the end of my nose. Like that. Toe shoes make very good ears. Sometimes I wear them to lunch. Here's what I like to do. Pretend. Sometimes I am a mother with 40 children. I love that. I do admire that part of her character, that she's so good at make-believe. Sometimes I am a giant with fire coming out of my hair. Sometimes I get terribly sick and I have to be waited on. Sometimes I get so sick my head falls over and is wobbling until it is loose. Then we have to call my mother long distance and charge it. My mother is 30 and has a charge account at Bergdorf's. She wears a 3.5 shoe. I put a large cabbage leaf on my head when I have a headache. It makes a very good hat. My mother knows Coco Chanel. She goes to Europe and to Paris and sends for me if there is some sun. I'm always packed in case I have to leave on a TWA at a moment's notice or something like that. My mother has an AT&T stock and she knows an ad man, whatever that is. Sometimes my mother goes to Virginia with her lawyer. He has an office on Madison Avenue. He has already had the whooping cough and the measles. Sometimes I give him rubber candy. He is absolutely so dumb, he eats it. Sometimes he brings me a present, whether I deserve it or not. I usually do. Here's what he likes. Martinis. Here's what I like. Dandelions. Sometimes I have a temper fit. There she is, just getting so frustrated, but not very often. I absolutely dislike school, so Philip is my tutor. He goes to Andover. My mother knows the dean. He wears red garters and is boring, boring, boring. When we have our French lesson, he reads in French about La Petite Cousine de Marie and her Hardin. Sometimes I listen to him, but not very often. Here's what makes Philip angry. He says, alors, nous commencerons, and I say, alors, nous commencerons, and he says, shall we settle down, Eloise? And I say, shall we settle down, Eloise? And he says, that's quite enough, Eloise. And I say, that's quite enough, Eloise. And he says, I mean it, Eloise. And I say, I mean it, Eloise, right back at him. And he looks at me with fiercely eyes, and I look right back at him with fiercely eyes. And then he says, that will do, Eloise. And then I say, that will do, Eloise. And then he shouts, Eloise, I mean it. And then I shout, Eloise, I mean it, right after him. And then he gets madder and says, stop it at once, Eloise. And then I say, stop it at once, Eloise. And then he stands up and he says, very well, Eloise. And I stand up and I say, very well, Eloise. And then he walks around the room and then he screams, Nanny! And then I scream, Nanny! And Nanny comes in yelling, no, 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 Eloise. And she claps her hands, and Skipperty and me, we skibble over and hide behind the television or fall down dead behind a hidden door. And then Nanny puts her arm around Philip and calls room service and says, send 3 of everything, please. And when the waiter brings the check, Nanny signs my mother's name, and I simply tell him to charge it, please, and thank you very much. Then I do a cartwheel. Philip is always glad to go home. Every night I have to call room service to send up that menu so we can order our dinner for Lord's sake. I always have to read it for a few seconds or so. Then I just say, I'll have the plank medallion of beef tenderloin with fresh vegetables, maison please, and 2 raisins, 1 strawberry leaf, and 1 clams in season, s'il vous plaît, and charge it please. Thank you very much. Ooh, I absolutely love room service. The knight's maid name is Lily. She married the engineer of the subway and cut her hair, but I think she's sorry. She gives us extra pillowcases and soap. Once there was this most terrible storm that came up, and it rained, and all this thunder was clomping itself into this water, and all these people were drowning without air, and absolutely no one was saved. Paper cups are very good for talking to Mars. So she just loves her make-believe. TV is in the drawing room. I always watch it with my parasol in case there's some sort of glare. And oh my lord, when it's fight night, Nanny is absolutely wild. We have to scamper into our places and get ready, and Nanny has to find her players, and I have to get my binoculars and call room service and order 3 Pilsner beers for Nanny and 1 meringue glacé for me, Eloise, and charge it, please. Thank you very much. Here's what I hate. Howdy doody. Ooh, I absolutely love TV. Every night when it's time to go to bed, Nanny yawns out loud and said she's tired, tired, tired. I make as much noise as I possibly can, like turning on the phonograph real loud and hollering a lot. Then I have to brush Nanny's hair for her. And when we both yawn out loud, we get into our pajamas. Then I have to put on my do not disturb sign and to get Skipperdy and Weenie and me all tucked in. And then Nanny opens the windows enormously wide so we can have air, air, air. And then she turns out the light. And here she is with her do not disturb sign around her neck. Nanny has a mole. Sometimes we go to sleep right away, but not very often. Sometimes Weenie and Skipperdy and me, we get out of bed and go into that closet and look around for a while. And when we get in there, there's this cave. And it is so dark in there that it's absolutely black. And there's this big bug in there that has those enormously large feathers, and he picks us up by our necks and he skanks us around for a while in his paws and carries us down into this deep well, and it is all filled with tigers and lions and birds of prey, and they eat us up raw and step on us and stamp their feet on us and absolutely rank us. And we have to run for our lives and drag each other on our stomach and scrape our face along the side until we're absolutely breathing and stretching our arms to reach that closet door barely in time, and our heart is beating. So we have to wake Nanny with a flashlight in her face to save us and to put witch hazel and cotton on all of our toenails. Poor Nanny, she looks exhausted. So again, we're just seeing this big imagination that Eloise has. And Nanny has to get up and pamper and spoil me for a while I'm out of my head with fever and pain. After all, I am only 6. Oh my lord, there's so much to do. Tomorrow I think I'll pour a pitcher of water down the mail chute. Oh, I absolutely love the plaza. Oh my goodness. So that scamp Eloise, boy oh boy does she get herself into a lot of trouble at the Plaza Hotel, doesn't she? She just loves to interact with all the different guests and all the employees. And I would say as a character, I really admire her incredible creativity and her make-believe abilities. That's pretty amazing. The things that I would learn from Eloise, I think I would, as I said, I probably would try to just make sure I'm being really kind to people around me, not playing too many jokes on them, and certainly not hitting them in the kneecap or on the shin. But I think Eloise is such a fun character, and she is so funny, and she's got such a great voice. I hope you enjoyed getting to know her as a character, and I will see you tomorrow for our last day of our character study. Bye.